and welcome to a special episode of Railway Mania. This time I am joined by Andy, Debbie, Howard and Phil from the World of Railways team, who have been busy putting together their second virtual model railway exhibition of 2020. With the ongoing global pandemic causing so many public events to be cancelled, these virtual exhibitions have been a great way of creating an event for people to look forward to. This is the short version of the podcast. A full 1 hour interview with all five of us will also be published on the Railway Mania feeds. Tune in to the World of Railways website on Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th of November to see the virtual exhibition. Now, without further ado, I'll let the team introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Andy York. People probably know me most of all from RM web activities. But the other role that I play within BRM is photographer. That's on the layout side, plus the products for reviews.
I'm Phil Parker. On BRM, I take the things that are in pieces and stick them back together again. And I also edit Garden Rail magazine.
I'm Debbie Wood. I'm the brand content manager for BRM and across the Railways portfolio. I keep these boys in check and just make sure everything goes out.
Hi, I'm Howard. I'm multimedia editor for BRM and our recent startup website, World of Railways.
I thought we'd kick things off with a little bit of fun. This was Howard's idea. A bit of a debate. I want you to pick your favourite layout, what do you think is best in show, and you're going to have 60 seconds to put forward your case for why it's the best in show, and no one can choose the same layout.
Oh, 60 seconds, is that long enough?
Howard, it's your idea, so I think you should go first.
I feel honoured.
Are you ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we've got 20 layouts, more than 20 layouts in the show, but the one I've picked is Scorbiton. It's a layout that we featured in the February 2019 issue of the magazine. We've got some great pics of it coming up on the show, set in the Welsh Marches area, and it's sort of 1980s period, BR Blue, but the thing that I love about it is that I grew up right next to where this is set, and some of the architecture that's depicted on this layout is absolutely fantastic, and it's got that Z factor, the height aspect. What I love about it is the architecture. There's sort of the red sandstone, there's the black and white rendered buildings, and lots and lots of brickwork, which is absolutely beautifully weathered. An interesting track plan, and there's plenty of activity, and also little cameos. There's a guy here crossing a Pelican crossing, reading a newspaper, clearly taking his time, and there's a dude in a Reliance scimitar with his head out of the window, clearly giving him something for his money.
Stop.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay. I mean, it's a strong case. It's a strong first case. Lots of details.
I like it. It's one of those layouts. It's 20 foot by 11 foot.
You've
had
your 60 seconds. Shut.
That's enough.
Here's why I'm right.
Andy, okay, you have got 60 seconds starting from now.
My standout layout of the show is Andrew Bartlett's Blue Ball Summit. Not only because it's 1970s BR Blue diesel hydraulics in the West Country, which is a bit of a fetish of mine anyway, but beyond that, it's because it's N-gauge, but it doesn't look like it. When I first took some snaps of it, I sent them through to Howard. I said, have a look at this. It's an O-gauge layout that I photographed yesterday. He said, that's absolutely brilliant. I said, tough news, mate. It's N-gauge. But Andrew's gone way beyond that. He was a very good modeller beforehand anyway, with an EM gauge layout called Old Shore. But he went into N-gauge and thought, how do I make it better? And similarly to Howard's choice of Scorbiton with the Z factor, there's a lot of height to this layout with the fantastic viaduct scene with the village underneath. And he's chosen to keep going and make it as good as possible.
Stop. Just in there. Okay, I think use of height is fantastic on that layout.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of layout owners don't always consider when, you can always build up on a layout. That doesn't really usually, that's not the problem in taking up space in a room. It's usually the width or the length.
Exactly.
But you can always play with the height.
I'd go as far to say it's probably one of the nicest N-gauge layouts we've had in the magazine for a really, really, really long time.
I'd put it as one of the top 2 N-gauge layouts in the country. And the other one isn't even finished yet. So by default, it's probably the best one that's out there at the moment. And if anybody gets a chance to see it at a real show when those happen again, it's well worth a trip to do so.
I like James Street as well, though.
Copenhagen Fields, obviously, being the other one.
Yeah, Copenhagen Fields is not N-gauge, Howard.
If you say it's N-gauge...
You'll get thrown out.
I will get thrown out, but we all know it's 2mm to the foot.
Debbie, you have got 60 seconds starting now.
So my choice for the show is the 009 layout by Jamie Warren called Sandy Shores. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this particular layout because, one, it's covered in sand, which I love the beach, and it's got some clever modelling in here. It's quite a small layout, but it manages to pack in a lot of detail. You've got the beach, you've got pond with the water details, you've got a little boat in there, you've got loads of wood, and it's just a really, really picturesque layout where there's it feels quite fun as well. Jamie's also a really, really talented modeller. He won our BRMA Modeller of the Year last time around, and it's just a really fun, uplifting layout. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy it, the show.
Spectacular.
One thing I'd like to say about Jamie is that he blows the myth out of the water when you listen to people saying, oh, there's not enough young people in the hobby or the hobby's doomed. Jamie has got such fantastic creativity. He started obviously sort of like through teenage years, and I could tell that there was a creative streak in him which didn't sort of like fit the norm. And it's brilliant to have seen that evolved over the years as well. And he really makes some captivating scenes, and he goes way beyond the layout as well. He thinks about the presentation of everything, and he's such an engaging character. I think he's brilliant.
He really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people thinking that like young modelers are just obsessed about new releases or box opening and stuff. Like the amount of stuff that he's made on that layout, and like you say, the presentation, it's not a conventionally shaped layout.
No.
It is fun.
It just packs so much in there.
And it's interesting to look at.
And he uses different techniques. You give him something out of the box and you say, have a go at building a diorama around this, and it'll be 3-4 times bigger than you ever expected it to be. You know, he'll have had, I'll tell you what, I'll just chuck a duck pond in there, and whilst we're at it, there's a guy, he's having see if there are any fish in it whilst we're at it. Let's have a little fisherman, and some reeds over here, and
It's all very strong cases so far. Phil, no pressure.
You're doomed. Your 60 seconds commences.
60 seconds from now.
Now, okay, prepare to be blown away. My pick is Beaconscott, the model village. It's 2 acres. It's got 450 metres of track, so that stuffs all you lot. It's older because it started in 1928 when Roland Callingham was told by his wife to either get his model railway out of the house or she was leaving. So he went out into the garden, commissioned Bassett Lowe to build the most enormous gauge one, so bigger than all yours as well, garden railway. And it's still going today. It runs 7 days a week. The trains run all day. They'll cover in the region of 2,500 real miles every year. So just in terms of sheer scale, it wins out. And the cafe there does an excellent cake as well. What else do you want?
Well, just one question. Just one question. How much has this cost over the years? Because I saw a figure quoted on the website, which was absolutely mind-blowing. £5 million, I believe.
It's worth every penny, Howard.
It makes money, Howard.
It does. It makes money.
It does. It is fantastic, though. I remember going as a kid.
Yeah, it's quintessentially British. It's got atmosphere, and it's probably the closest you get to visiting a real railway in the sense that you stand by the trackside just waiting for a train to come by, and it just trundles through the scenery. It's very unusual. There are very few model villages left around, and they do an absolutely superb job there.
I mean, I should have known that Phil was going to choose the only one that was outdoors.
Yeah, and of course. As far as the virtual show goes, it's the only time you get to see it at a show, because quite frankly, I did ask them if they'd let me dig it up and take it to Ali Pali one year, and they said no. Funny enough. Yeah, it would be. It's. I think that's the point of the virtual show. We can bring you things that you wouldn't normally see, and this isn't the only one. We're working on, putting in things that you wouldn't normally get into an exhibition hall, or you certainly wouldn't get all of these into an exhibition hall at the same time.
And quite a few of them are built in. Well, they're in permanent place, aren't they, at home?
We can do that. I mean, the great thing about it is we can go and we can do that. And I think, let's face it, we love going to real shows, but if you're going to have a virtual show, I think we've got to try and do something different with it. So when we were faced with the joys of trying to work out what this was going to look like, we started with a blank canvas, and we've let our imaginations run riot and come up with something very different.
Absolutely. I think a special mention needs to be made for Dent, and I'll tell you why. Northern, grimy, tall, drama. There are others.
Beautiful as well. Very scenic.
Beautiful layout. And also probably the one I most want to own.
Right.
But I think out of all the ones we've heard so far, I think it's got to be Sandy Shores.
Ooh.
Honestly, it's just the most different one, I think. And I know that Phil, I know, yours is outdoors and stuff like that, but I don't know. I can't think of any others that I know of like Sandy Shores.
I think Sandy Shores ticks a lot of boxes for me. I reckon when I go to a show, the layout I like is the one I want to build. It's not the one I want to own. It's never going to be the biggest one. And yet the first time I saw Jamie unpacking Sandy Shores when we did the RM Web Taunton day, it blew me away. I'd love to build that. I'd love to have the imagination, the artistry to be able to do what he's done. And so... Yeah.
And also, it's really annoying when someone younger than you does a really nice job. That's what I find really irritating.
I don't know. I love that possibility that the future is going to be better than the past. Because too many people spend too long looking backwards and saying, oh, were you there when such and such happened? Did you queue for this? Did you buy issue 0 of whatever? And that's not going to build us sort of like a future looking backwards like that.
No.
And that's where I think that we need more Jamies out there.
Absolutely.
Spot on.
Yeah, beautifully presented as well. The way he's curved the back scene round on it. And, well, you'll see it at the virtual show, won't you?
So having virtual exhibitions is a really great thing because I think I really miss the event of an exhibition, like anticipation, the excitement, and also variety. I think... especially online, I tend to visit the same places over and over again, the same threads, and being presented something which you might not otherwise have gone for, I think is a really great thing.
Strap yourself in, Corwin, because at this show, we are doing the whole lot. We've got model announcements, we've got various forms of presentation, the written word, we've got photographs, we've also got video practicals, we've only mentioned sort of our 5 favourite layouts there, but there are more than 20 to go at the show. And I do think with all the scales covered, even gauge 1, like Phil mentioned, there's something for all tastes and all scales. And this is the first time, I believe, at a virtual exhibition, certainly for model railways, that model announcements will be made. So look out for those.
For you guys, what makes a great exhibition layout for you? Because I know we've talked about our favourite ones in this show, the virtual show, but in the real world, what makes a great exhibition layout? Is it spectacle, or is it operational interest, or is it detail, or is it the operator themselves?
For me, it's the overall scene that somebody set. That tells me that they're an artist as much as a modeller or engineer. And that's the thing, I think, which sets them apart from whether it be, they've built all of their locos out of sort of like brass and they've smelted their own iron for making the track work and so on. For me, it's capturing atmosphere and creativity, and those are the ones that will win for me.
I agree with that, yeah.
I can't argue with that. I think it is all about storytelling, and it is about, kind of capturing a moment in time that can be a memory or it can be a dream, or a nightmare in some cases. But it's about capturing that moment and sort of taking everyone with you on that journey. I also like a bit of quirky, I've got to say. I'm always drawn to something that's a little bit different as well.
Yeah, I think I said I want to go away having seen at least one layout that I want to go and build, that I actually really feel I want to go and build. That is, again, for me, it's never going to be the big layout with the express trains running through. That's not really my bag. But I know for other people, that's exactly what they want to do. They just want to stand by the line side, watching the trains go by. And if you can, I can be just inspired by one of these tiny little micro layouts as one of the huge layouts.
What's next for World of Railways?
Well, there's lots of plans afoot at the moment. Not a lot that I can really talk about too much, but basically it's going to be widening its net. I think the World of Railways is a great website, and we've come a long way into trying to make it a really good tool and a really good for the end user. And really I think what people can expect to see is for the content and the areas to evolve into different areas of railways. I think that's probably where we're going to see. I've been speaking to some great people who's going to hopefully be contributing in the near future as well, and a little bit more video, a little bit more this and that. It's just going to keep growing. We want it to become the definitive resource, really, and we want it to actually be representative of what it is. It's World of Railways, so we need to make sure that the content lives up for that.
One of the elements of World of Railways which I think is really important is the news and communicating that out there. Because with so many manufacturers, so many new entrants, including yourself, Corwin, obviously on Railway Mania products that you're bringing in, to try and keep up with what's happening out there in the marketplace at the moment is a nightmare these days. So on World of Railways, you've got a steady feed of news items each and every day where we're keeping on top of the news as it comes through, and particularly Howard and Phil are actually posting that content up there with a bit of a summary for you. So it is somewhere that's worth visiting on a daily basis.
Absolutely. One to bookmark. Certainly.
I think also it's important that a big chunk of this hobby is the cottage industry manufacturers. It's the little guys. Yeah, we all know about the Hornbys, the Backmans, the Helgens, that sort of thing. But there are all sorts of little guys out there doing really interesting work. And one of the things World of Railways does is it supports that industry. You know, we're really behind the whole model railway industry, and so we'll happily report on somebody who's done some particularly interesting drain pipes or wagon loads or something like that, just as much as we'll pick up somebody who's made a nice new, or is announcing a nice shiny new locomotive, because there's so many aspects to that hobby that, as I say, there's only so many pages you can fit in a magazine. But we will go. We do our best. If somebody gets in touch with us and they are making, I don't know, a new door handle for a carriage range or something like that, we'll do something with it, and we'll try and help them out as well.
Club news as well. Don't forget, we're all there for supporting clubs. They're one of the backbones of the hobby. And if ever any of you have got anything to send that you'd like to see posted on World of Railways, then feel free to take a few pictures and send us a bit of text describing what you're up to and what it is you'd like to release to brm@warnersgroup.co.uk, and we'll be in touch and let you know what we can do.
I just have one thing I wanted to finish on, which was another timed debate, which I've sprung on you. This one is Andy versus Phil. Phil, you're at an exhibition. You've got your prize layout. What couplings are best to use and why? You've got 30 seconds starting now.
Spratt and Winkle Mark 1. It's very, very difficult to see. It's very robust, and so the wagons come out of the stock box all ready to use. Little tweak my fingers maybe, but essentially I can put them on the layout. They'll work perfectly, and it means I can go and get a cup of tea. And they're about 90% reliable.
Spot on. Andy, why is Phil wrong? You've got 30 seconds.
Phil's got to spend all the time making up those Spratt and Winkles when he could have been drinking tea and having a cake anyway. So that's argument one anyway. However, I'd go for 3 links for accuracy, or an adaptation of the old tension locks with the Kirby uncoupling, which is basically adding a staple and some neodymium magnets for remote operation. Dead simple, sweet, rather than having to waste time making stuff.
I'd actually argue it depends what scale you're working in. I mean, you said 3 links there, but that's not going to work for many N gauge or 2mm to the foot scale modelers.
Yeah, well, I don't model in N gauge.
If they're proper hardcore, they'll use 3 links.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about them.
All right, Howard. Howard, if you want to throw a wild card in, you've got 30 seconds now.
Okay, right. So 7mm to the foot.
I'll stop waffling.
I'm going to say it depends on the type of layout. If it's a shunting layout, you're not going to want to go down the 3-link route.
Yeah,
that's a cop out.
It's going to be too much faff. You want to have something like Phil suggested, the Spratt and Winkles. 4mm, probably hook and loop.
That'd be a Spratt and Winkle then.
No, just bent wire. and the usual solder against the debuffers there.
That's time.
A little bit more discreet.
Howard, that's the second time you've gone over time.
I know.
Honestly,
I'm bending the rules.
that's how.
He never does anything.
I was going to say that's Howard on deadline. That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant.
What's the point in having rules if you can't just flex them a bit?
Okay, well, I think that's a good place to wrap up then. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast, everybody. Really appreciate the first remote recording we've done. Hopefully it went well. So, can I just end by welcoming everyone to the official opening on Saturday, November the 7th at 9:30 for 2 days of fantastic model railway entertainment and exciting new announcements. Don't miss it. Love to see you there virtually.